Trauma bonds are what actually destroyed me. Growing up the way I did, being parentified, having to take the role as caretaker as a child, really, really screwed with my head. And I became traumatized. And I had a lot of issues with that. I didn't have any self-esteem because I was never taught what confidence was. I was never taught really to do the right thing unless it was in a movie. That's the disconnect. I would see movies because I was born in 95. I am 30. Um, I grew up with a lot of those great movies, and that's why I'm such a movie guy now, or old movie head, because those lessons that I was taught in those movies were all I basically had. Because I never got to see it in real life unless it was somebody else's family. And this really, I feel like, really messed with my head. I would chase the wrong girls. I would chase women who were traumatized, like me. But the problem with that is that we were both screwed up in the head. It was never gonna work. But for me, that felt comfortable. Me going back and forth with some chick, or me chasing after her and dealing with her problems, that made sense to me because of what I went through with my mom. But I was never shown a healthy way to be in a relationship. And it ate at me. I think that's partly why I just couldn't understand how valuable I was. How much people actually appreciate me, because I was so worried about how not good I was. That's all I thought about was, how do I keep getting better? How do I better? Because I felt like being useful was the answer. And to some degree it was, but I find a lot of the times that I couldn't shake the feeling of feeling inadequate because of what I went through. But I see now that, and this is gonna sound cheesy, because it's like, because I'm an old movie head, right? So I'm gonna say this, and it's like, I had it in me all along. But I really did, though. This time, I actually believe that. I have a nice place, money in the bank, assets. It'd be nice if crypto did something. I have hobbies. I have all these things, yet I still didn't feel it in here. But now I'm seeing that I am just as important as anybody else. I just wish I could have heard that from my parents. I think that would have made it real. You always have people like, oh, hey, Marcus, you're doing, but I don't know these people like that. It doesn't hit the same. You want some resolve from family trauma. Never got that. And that's why I have so much resentment for my parents. I just don't like them. They never did the right thing. They just did what they could. And that only worked so long. I honestly feel like I never truly got to figure myself out until like this point. And the downplaying and the gaslighting and making me feel bad, but they never taught me anything. But I taught myself this, that I am valuable. Chicks like me. People like me. Some people I have to move around from because they're toxic, but there's a lot more people that actually mess with me than I thought. For a long time, I thought I was just some monster freak, you know? I still feel like I have issues, but nothing like before. It's nice to see the end result of something because I've never seen my mom change, not even in an instant. Any of the times I called her out in her BS, she would just cry about it, and then I would be the bad person. My father was never gonna change, so I just never talked to him. I just see that for the most part, I was on my own. And I really think that really screwed with me because maybe deep down I thought if my parents won't validate me or they won't, look out for me, there must be something wrong with me. And then it's kind of morphed into, well, I'm going to prove them wrong. And I did. I proved them wrong. But at the same time, I still never got the validation. It just got deflected. And it was jarring. It was scary. I was like, oh. So no matter what I do, I'll never be good enough for you. And that's the game they play. That's why I just don't rock with my parents. They traumatized me and then blamed me. But I don't need them. I don't need them. They didn't do anything for me. I realize I get more joy interacting with a stranger than I do with my own parents. They feel more like strangers than strangers. It was almost like my father made me feel like I guess I wasn't good enough to inject energy into, right? And my mom made me feel like she was the only person that was gonna quote unquote love me, even though she never loved me. So I just grew up in this weird sort of, and I had my own issues, right? I had my own mental health issues. So on top of all that, I honestly don't know how I made it this far. But the point is, I realized I didn't need their validation. I didn't need it because it wasn't coming, but I didn't need it. Now I see I have a great life, man. I have a great life. I knew that before, but I didn't believe it, you know? But now I feel like the chains have been removed. I feel free. I don't feel insecurity. I can ask a chick out. It doesn't even bother me anymore. I think it's because I finally grew out of the mindset that I was the problem. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, and I was taking it was on my shoulders, for years. I was for sure I was the problem. But I wasn't. I've done nothing wrong. I just tried to survive the madness. And now I'm free. I feel like I can actually start my life over and there won't be no one there gaslighting me or trying to make me feel less than, you know? Now, there are some people who can try to make me feel less than, but it doesn't work because I can see through them and they're pretty insecure. But I just don't know why I couldn't see that in my parents, you know? Maybe I didn't want to believe. Because I would watch all these movies and at the end, everything would fucking turn around. So I was like, at some point, my parents have to be a good people, right? Never happened. But now I've accepted it and I've grown past it. But I don't need them. Now I shy away from toxic women. You know, there will always be toxic women, you know. But when I see that, I can now move away from it, you know. I can move away from. Maybe that's why I was so attracted to toxic women, because it was just what I was used to. But I realize now I can start over and I don't have to make their mistakes. I don't have to invalidate any of the children that I have. I don't have to put people down. I don't have to blame shift, and it's very freeing. I don't even know where all this happened from. I just have this, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's confidence. It's just like, or maybe it is confidence. Maybe I finally have confidence in myself. But it's good, you know, because in my movie, I can finally, at the end of it, you pull through. And that's what I really wanted to see. I didn't want my story to end up like my parents, where nothing changes. It's like they're children, but they're adults. And I don't know. Could my parents be jealous of me? It could be, you know, but I don't care what it is. I'm already past that. But I just realized I have a good life, you know? I have more than enough means, you know? I have everything I need, but I really had everything I needed beforehand. It's just no one was there to help me. No one was there to tell me that I was worth, you know,